When you grow up outside the United States, you hear stories about a place where everything is possible if you just work hard enough. A place where safety, stability, and opportunity exist, where you can go from washing dishes to becoming a millionaire.
I'm standing in front of a fence that symbolizes the American dream. But what does that even mean?
The wall, the fences, and checkpoints are symbols of a promise. A promise that millions still chase because hope is sometimes the only thing people have left. But today, the news don't sound all that promising anymore. The land of the free is not for everyone anymore.
A witness video showing the minutes leading up to the fatal shooting of 37-year-old ICU nurse Alex Preddy by a federal agent.
A second video shows an agent repeatedly striking the same man in the head while he's pinned to the ground.
I came to San Diego to tell a story lived by the people who stand in the shadows of the American dream. A dream that for many has quietly turned into a nightmare.
So this here behind me, on top of the mountain, is it. This is the border in between Mexico and the United States. I'm currently on the side of the United States, and the idea was to go to the beach, which is where this wall is descending into the ocean. However, on the US side, this beach is closed, or this whole area is closed for the public, so we won't be able to go there. Anyway, this is probably the most famous border on Earth, the one that makes the most headlines. It is also the busiest border on Earth, with more than 300 million people crossing it each year legally. That includes, of course, the people that cross every day because they are working, for example, here in the States. But it also includes those that are seeking a better life, that are hoping to find better opportunities here in the United States of America. This border here, for many, symbolizes a separation between families. It symbolizes hope, and it symbolizes the American dream. It's a bit intense to be walking here. You can see Mexico actually on this side of the border. We can see San Diego over there, and then we see this intense wall. At some parts it is up to 8 meters high. This wall is extremely hard to control. Obviously, in border regions there are always problems. These problems are making it all the way into the headlines worldwide. So we are going to the border crossing next to see a little bit what it's like there, how busy it really is right now. San Ysidro is like the door of the American dream. Those that enter here have the opportunity to either start a new life or just make the best out of both worlds. There are actually a lot of people coming through this border every day to work here in the United States, but they live on the other side in Tijuana. Others come here to go shopping, for example, or of course also to visit their families here in California.
¿Ya vas a salir? Sí. ¿Puedo preguntar para qué venías? ¿Tienes familia aquí?
No, solo vine a comprar unas cositas.
¿Y cómo es cruzar? ¿Es fácil? ¿Es rápido? ¿Cómo funciona?
Hoy fue rápido.
¿Hoy fue rápido?
Sí.
¿Cuánto tiempo normalmente tarda?
Como una media hora.
¿Media hora? Está muy bien, ¿no?
Sí, porque ha durado más.
For me personally, borders have always been kind of a strange concept. It's human-made completely, obviously. A lot of things in your life depend on whether you were born here on this side of the border or just a few meters away from here in Tijuana. Your life basically will depend a lot on this. It will create opportunities or not. You will have a certain education or not. It is definitely a fact that your passport gives you lots of privileges that most of us that have these privileges don't even notice, and probably we don't even value them as much as we should. I am right in front of the entrance to Mexico. There are lots of people crossing today. We are here on a weekend, and there are a lot of people coming from the US about to enter Mexico right now. There were also lots of cars. In general, this border town here is quite busy. You can also already see a little bit of Tijuana, the Mexican city, on the Mexican side of the border. It is said that Tijuana is one of the most dangerous cities on earth, with statistically 5 murders per day. There are lots of things happening here on this border. It is part of human trafficking, of drug trafficking, and so on. This border is heavily controlled for a good reason. San Ysidro is extremely busy. There are so many people entering and exiting the United States right now, and we are here on the weekend. I can only imagine that during the week it is probably way busier when the people who work here in the US have to enter as well. There are lots of cars as well. There are people on this side buying train tickets because you can also take a train to the closest city nearby, which is San Diego. And that is the city we're going to explore right now, because San Diego is what most people who cross the border are going to see the first moment they arrive. We are starting the San Diego tour in Coronado, which is kind of like an island here just in front of the city and the city center of San Diego. We can see the beautiful waterfront. Honestly, the view is spectacular. We can see downtown San Diego on this side. On the other side, there are some beautiful houses with perfect lawns. Everything here looks absolutely stunning, picture perfect. And this is what people dream about when they talk about the American dream. This is exactly the image you have in your head. It's beautiful, it's very peaceful. There are lots of people on their bikes. There are children in the playground. There are people doing sports here. It is an absolutely perfect place. But we are now going to cross the bridge to downtown San Diego. And I believe there we will see a completely different view from this here. San Diego itself is a beautiful city. It looks clean on most areas, but you see a lot of homeless. Like in the background just here, when we entered the city, we saw so many tents on the sidewalk. It is crazy, honestly. I wasn't expecting something like that from a city that is picture perfect on postcards. And again, even when we saw the city from far away, the city looks beautiful. There are a lot of beautiful places here. It is quite touristic, the city. So I wasn't expecting to see so much poverty, so many homeless people and people dragging themselves on the street, on the sidewalks, extremely obvious. It is not what you're expecting when you're thinking about the American dream, when you're thinking about crossing a border to improve your life, right? This is also another phase of San Diego. It's the reality of many people who simply cannot afford housing here anymore. Just to clarify one thing, we are in the heart of San Diego. This here is the East Village. It is downtown San Diego. We are just a few blocks away from the polished waterfront that looks absolutely beautiful, by the way. And this is what you find.
The deeper you go, the more you realize that this crisis didn't appear out of nowhere. It's tightly woven into the reality of living on a border.
Fentanyl is also a big problem here in the US. It's a synthetic drug that was man-made, usually used for medicinal reasons. However, it is being abused as a drug. It is extremely addictive and it makes people extremely numb. It's like an extremely strong opium. And San Diego is basically sitting in the front line of fentanyl trafficking, because most of the fentanyl that enters the United States comes from Tijuana or from Mexico. I want to emphasize on how extreme this contrast is, because we are in one of the wealthiest regions of this country. If I take a look just forward, it is not what you're expecting. I see beautiful buildings, modern skyscrapers. It looks clean what I'm seeing over there. And then on my sides, there's so much poverty. It seems to be normal that people are dragging themselves on the street. Marijuana, by the way, is legal in California, so we saw this quite publicly outlaid just right now on the sidewalk. I talked to a policeman and he also seemed like that's normal. Excuse me, sir. Is it safe to park here? We've been parking over there, but we are seeing like a lot of shady people here in the area.
Yeah, like transients, yeah. Yeah, you park in the street?
Over there, 1 block away from here.
It should be fine. I mean, did you lock the doors?
Yeah, of course.
It should be fine. If not, there you could have parked also inside. There's a little bit of homeless people, but it should be fine. It's not, yeah.
Okay.
There's also a lot of police here too. So.
The way he talked, it sounded like it would be something so normal and nothing to worry about. And I feel like it's actually not a very good idea to normalize these things. It's a problem that exists here in the city that shouldn't be ignored, neither normalized. We are getting back to the car now, but just to summarize my impressions from this area here, it's safe. Like you can walk through the area and you will feel safe. Like they won't harm you, they won't do you anything. It feels a bit awkward, pretty shady as well, if you don't know these kind of things. However, if you leave them alone, they will leave you alone. It's fine. But the weird thing is that it feels so normal. There are normal people walking around here, passing all of these homeless without looking at them. It feels like they are being ignored, like it is being accepted here in the society, in the city, that these people are there. And that's it. I understand it because, to be honest, if you live here, what else do you want to do about it, right? But it just feels strange to normalize these kind of things. I want to be clear on one thing. Big cities in America have their problems, and especially their zones and areas where these problems all come together and are extremely visible. We've seen something similar in San Francisco as well. However, most big cities have these kind of problems around the world, and especially cities that are close to borders often are a bit shady and have their issues, right? However, even here in San Diego, you can find a lot of beautiful places. I've seen a lot of beautiful places today, and I mean, just look at this view here behind me that is absolutely spectacular. I could totally see myself living here. And in these areas, you can definitely find a lot of people that are living their own individual version of the American dream. For example, just on this side, there is an old couple watching the sea, extremely calm, enjoying their free time, reading a book. And that, for me, is basically the symbol of the American dream. I feel like those two made it. They managed to stay together until they're old and retired, probably, and now enjoying life here. How beautiful is that? Anyway, I believe that a video about San Diego is only complete if you show all sides of the city. Those beautiful parts here, obviously, that we've seen today, but also the border as well as the negative sides of the city. I personally believe that in a lot of big cities, especially in the big cities, the gap between rich and poor is getting bigger and bigger, not only here in America, but also in European cities. I'm noticing this a lot. I believe this leads to a huge problem in the society. It leads obviously to more poverty, to more people on the streets, people taking drugs, and so on. It is like a downward-facing spiral that people cannot get out of anymore once they are in there. And I believe this is a huge problem in Western countries in general. A problem that we should be talking about more frequently, I think, because I personally do not have the solution for this problem. However, awareness can be a good start to find a solution together. Let me know your thoughts about this topic in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep exploring the world with me. The real world and not the Instagram version.